It's week 20 of this 21-week plan of going through all of World Championship Wrestling from the beginning of the Monday Night War to the end of the invasion and redoing it my way. Josiah's sick, couldn't make it, so this will be one like none other. After the Open, I'll tell you what went down in real life, and then afterward, I'll tell you how I would have done it. Because Josiah can't be here, let me tell you what happened at No Mercy. So the show opened with the WCW World Tag Team Championship on the line. As the Hardy Boys, they defeated Lance Storm and the Hurricane. That match was 7 minutes, 41 seconds. After it, we had Test representing the Alliance, defeating Kane, which Kane's more WCW representative than Test ever was, but it went 10 minutes, 5 seconds. After that, we had the notorious WWE trash of a lingerie match where Tori Wilson disrobed Stacy Keibler in 3 minutes and 9 seconds. After that, we have the brothers of Edge and Christian. I believe they're still classified as brothers at this point, having a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. That match went 22 minutes and 12 seconds, which is the longest of the night. After that, the Dudley Boys defeated Tajiri and the Big Show. What a weird team that was. In 9 minutes and 30 seconds. After that, we have The Undertaker defeating Booker T in 12 minutes and 10 seconds. Chris Jericho defeats The Rock to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And in the main event of the evening, Stone Cold Steve Austin has, as the champion, defeats Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam in 15 minutes, 16 seconds to retain the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. So, in my version of this world, Vince is finally happy. He now has the Big Eagle belt on Kurt Angle, the big gold belt on The Rock. He has the Hardcore title with Rhino. The Cruiserweight Tag Team titles are on the Hardy Boys. The Cruiserweight titles on Tajiri. The U.S. Championship is with Bradshaw. Light Heavyweight titles on Spike Dudley. Women's titles with Trish. The only title the WWF does not possess are the WCW Tag titles held by Lance Storm and RVD of the Most Dangerous Alliance, and the WWF Tag Team titles held by Kanyon and DDP of Nitro's Finest Talents. The European title is held by Johnny the Bull Stamboli, just because I like that guy, and I just thought it'd be funny to give Johnny the Bull the European title. With Vince on Cloud 9, he sets up the matches at No Mercy for his title. Shane agrees to it because, again, he still owns a quarter of the company. Because I never did that. Him and Stephanie have to sell off to buy the others. They just use their own money to do so. So the matches go as follows. Johnny the Bull, the European champion, teams with Lance Storm and RVD. And also Kanyon and DDP to take on Chris Jericho, Christian, Kane, Farouk, Test. RVD wins by pinning Christian after Chris Jericho finally turns on his team. It's just Jericho got tired of Vince needling him and accusing him, and again, he's got all the friends from the WCW side, so he's welcoming him in with open arms. In the second match of the night, Rhino is taking on Raven for the Hardcore title. So during this Hardcore Rules match, Raven gets assistance from The Big Show, X-Pac, Tori Wilson, Brian Adams, because they're all WCW sided people, and they help Raven defeat Rhino. Spike Dudley and Tajiri take on Billy Kidman and Gregory Helms, because Gregory Helms is a part of Thrilling Young Thunder and Billy Kidman is a part of Nitro's Finest Talents. Both of those factions help them defeat Tajiri and Spike Dudley. In case you hadn't noticed, Vince is not having a good night. He's not nearly as happy now as he was going into the show. Because he's on the losing end of most of this stuff. So, Bradshaw defends his WCW United States title against Mark Jindrak. Edge and the Hardy Boys take on Booker T, Dean Malenko, and Chavo Guerrero. And Edge and the Hardys are defending their IC title and their tag team titles. So Booker, Dean, and Chavo defeat the Hardys and Edge to win Booker the IC title and Dean and Chavo the Cruiserweight tag titles respectively. In the semi-main event, Kurt Angle defends his Big Eagle belt against Stone Cold. Stone Cold recaptures the Big Eagle. And in the main event, The Rock defends the Big Gold belt against the Most Dangerous Alliance's Undertaker to put the sides, to put the WWF side back on the losing end of things against WCW. So I'm doing this because I'm trying to give a real good justification for an event that's coming soon, which is Survivor Series. But before we get to Survivor Series, which is both in real life and in storyline, where we do the winner-take-all gimmick, but before we get there, we're gonna go to the UK exclusive Rebellion pay-per-view, where in real life, Edge, Intercontinental Champion, defends against Christian, retains in 12 minutes 49 seconds. Scotty 2 Hotty defeats the Hurricane in 8 minutes 55. Big Show defeats DDP in 3 minutes 15 seconds. Vince was not a fan of DDP for some reason, even though the man literally gave up guaranteed money to come to work. So I'll never understand that. Next up, we have a WCW World Tag Team title 3-way elimination match where the Dudley Boys win when the APA and the Hardy Boys get eliminated. The match went 12 minutes and 1 second. Up next, we got William Regal in his home country, or homeland, I guess, if you will, defeating Tajiri in 5 minutes 55 seconds. The match after that is the WCW World Heavyweight title of Chris Jericho defeating Kurt Angle. It's a weird big gold belt match. Then we got a women's tag team match where Tori Wilson teams with Lita to defeat Mighty Molly and Stacy Keibler. Trish Stratus was a special guest referee. The main event is Steve Austin defeating The Rock in 22 minutes and 9 seconds. So that was the real life Rebellion. For my notes for Rebellion, I said most of Rebellion show can be reruns of matches from the summer or even the fall, with Nitro's Finest Talent, Thrilling Young Thunder, and the Most Dangerous Alliance being strong, going up against WWF's contingents. The biggest thing that will happen at Rebellion is The Rock will win the WWF Championship in the main event from Steve Austin, this being the first time that the title has changed hands outside of North America. In the real timeline, the WWF title doesn't change hands outside of North America until AJ Styles defeats Jinder Mahal on a SmackDown leading into Survivor Series. But I just thought it'd be nice to make Rebellion important and kind of help the WWF side in the timeline. So, after Rebellion, WCW holds everything except for the WWF Championship. Vince is a madman, worse than ever before. And Shane is so high on himself, it is hard to stand. So Vince and Shane both know this needs to stop. Vince wants his championships back, and he wants Shane. Shane also wants for this to be over. So they agree to a. So a big theme of this show has been you bring your three best, and I'll bring my three best. It goes back to the formation of the New World Order. And so what I do is I book in the main event of Survivor Series 2001, the best of the Team WCW versus the best of Team WWF, with the network contracts hanging where you have to climb a ladder to get it down. But this match is happening inside Hell in a Cell. Because Shane's the one who proposes the winner gets the contract for the networks, and Vince says, well, it's gonna be inside Hell in a Cell, because it's so Vince. So at the real Survivor Series of 2001, which happened November the 18th, the show opens with a European title match where Christian, who is champion, defeats Al Snow in 6 minutes 30 seconds. The second match is William Regal defeating Tajiri in 2 minutes 59. Then we have a unification match for the United States and Intercontinental titles where Edge defeats Test in 11 minutes 19 seconds. After that, we unify the tag team titles inside of a steel cage where the Dudleys with Stacy Keibler defeat the Hardy Boys, and they walk away after 15 minutes 44 seconds with all the titles, or both sets of tag belts. After that, we have a 1-year immunity from being fired battle royal. The winner of that is Test. Participants aren't really that relevant because, whatever. Test wins. It's fine. The match only went 7 minutes 37 seconds. After that, we crown a women's champion, we have a match to crown the women's champion. The title is vacant. Trish Stratus defeats Ivory, Jacqueline, Jazz, Lita, and Mighty Molly. And then we get to the WWF's Survivor Series versus WCW ECW Alliance winner takes all match. It was Chris Jericho, Kane, Big Show, Rock, and Taker representing WWF versus Booker T, Kurt Angle, Rob Van Dam, Shane McMahon, and Steve Austin representing WCW ECW. The Rock won in 44 minutes and 57 seconds, winning the match for the Team WWF and ending the Invasion storyline in the real timeline. But in my timeline, we open with a we open with I did not book the opening match well. So I know what I did. I picked the team captain for Team WWF, but we open with a traditional Survivor Series match. It is Team WCW's Johnny the Bull Stamboli, Sean Stasiak, Chuck Palumbo, and Sean O'Hare versus Team Farouk, which is cool because he's a former WCW World Heavyweight Champion. Let's just hypothetically say his partners were Bradshaw, that makes sense, and maybe Too Cool. Whoever's available, it's fine. So we'll open with Farouk being the sole survivor at the end because I love me some Ron Simmons. Up next, we have a Cruiserweight Open where the participants are X-Pac, Dean Malenko, Hurricane, Chavo, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, and Scotty 2 Hotty. So if he's in the opening match, then he'll be double booked. But the man walking out with the Cruiserweight title at the end of Survivor Series 2001 in my world will be, let's just go, Chavo. Chavo's a great shout, great wrestler. Up next, we go to another traditional Survivor Series match. It is Chris Kanyon, Diamond Dallas Page, Billy Kidman, and Mark Jindrak, all of Nitro's finest talents, taking on Edge, Christian, Bubba Ray, and Devon of Team WWF. And here we'll have it come down to the final participants are Diamond Dallas Page versus Edge and Bubba Ray Dudley. Edge spears DDP, 1, 2, 3. Bubba Ray and Edge win this Survivor Series match. Now we'll do my version of the immunity from being fired Battle Royal. So the winner of this match will be DDP. And the reason I'm having him win is because it's the reason he can't get a smile wiped off his face from here on out. Because, like I said, I thought that was a great gimmick, but it had no real purpose. His positively page, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So here, he'll be always smiling because he can't be fired. Up next, we'll have uh, the Most Dangerous Alliance of Rikishi, RVD, Lance Storm, and The Undertaker take on Team WWF of Kane. Um, it'll be Kane and three other fellows who I didn't book. Actually, to make it simple, let's do Kane, Rhino, um, Kane, Rhino. It doesn't matter. They're not winning. Team Most Dangerous Alliance goes over, clean sweep. They all win. It's a strong team. So all team Taker lose. All team WCW win. Now up next we'll have Terry Runnels and Stacy Keibler in a tag match. They represent WCW taking on Trish Stratus and Lita. We have Team WWF win. In case you hadn't noticed, I keep keeping it balanced. So now, because it's balanced, so we now get to the match that decides it all. It is your three best from WCW, our three best from WWF. They're all going to have to climb a ladder to pull down the network contracts to see who is going to run WCW, or not WCW, whether it be WCW or WWF, running Raw and SmackDown from here on out. In this match, like I said, there'll be ladders that you'll have to climb to get the contract down. The contract will be hanging from the Hell in a Cell, and the ladders will be mounted on the walls of the cell. Inside, representing Team WCW, is the recently turned Chris Jericho, who turned on WWF because Vince has always treated him like crap, teaming with Stone Cold Steve Austin, who has been Team WCW with Paul Heyman and the Most Dangerous Alliance since the beginning of this Invasion storyline. And their final partner is the man who walked into the Invasion with the big gold belt, that being Booker T. They are taking on The Rock, Kurt Angle, and Vince McMahon himself, because Vince says, I'm not losing this company without, putting up a fight. But the funny thing is, he does lose the company. He does lose the TV spots. Chris Jericho pulls down the network contract. He proves that WCW is superior and that they will be running Raw and SmackDown for the foreseeable future. But if you click this video and you've made it this far, I'm sure you read the title of the episode, which is Rise of the Insurgents. The Rise of the Insurgents begins the night after Survivor Series on 11/18 of 2001, because that is the first ever, in this world, WCW Raw. Shane McMahon is on cloud 9. All of his boys are happy. We've got Steve, and we've got Chris, and we've got everybody. Booker, everybody's happy because WCW wins. It's now WCW Raw. And over the next few weeks, Team WCW does their best to keep back Team WWF, those insurgents who are trying to fight and claw and get back, because now the invasion has turned. It's everybody who was formerly on the Team WCW that is the folks that are running the show, and it's the other guys, it's the WWF guys, it's, the Scotty 2 Hotties, the Alberts, the Edges, the Christians. Those are the people who are doing the run-ins now. So you change the dynamic of the way things play out. But before we get to how I have things play out on 12/9 of 2001, let's tell you what they did in real life. That, in real life, was called Vengeance. It opened with a tag team match with Albert, the Hip Hop Hippo, teaming with Scotty 2 Hottie to take on Christian and Test. Match lasted 6 minutes, 12 seconds. Up next, we got Edge, champion, the Intercontinental Champion, defending against William Regal. That match went 9 minutes, 6 seconds. Edge retained. Up next, we got the Hardy Boys splitting up. Lita is a special guest referee. Jeff Hardy defeats Matt. When Lita doesn't see that Matt's foot is under the rope, I'm pretty sure is the way that played out. It went 12 minutes, 30 seconds. Up next, WWF World Tag Team title match. The Dudley Boys with Stacy Keibler defeat Kane and the Big Show in 6 minutes, 50 seconds. Then we got a hardcore title match. This one was a fun one. It's Biker Taker defeating hardcore champion of Rob Van Dam in 11 minutes, 8 seconds to win the hardcore title. I liked this reign because Biker Taker put the hardcore title on the headlamp and drove the bike. It was fun times. Now we have Trish Stratus, who is the women's champion, defending against Jacqueline. She defeats her in 3 minutes, 34 seconds. That's pretty weak, if I might say so myself. Then we have WWF World Heavyweight title match. Steve Austin, champion, defeating Kurt Angle. In 14 minutes, 55 seconds, we have the World Heavyweight title match of Chris Jericho defeating the champion of The Rock. 19 minutes, 5 seconds. And in the main event of the Vengeance pay-per-view, Chris Jericho defeats Steve Austin, 12 minutes, 31 seconds, to become the first ever undisputed champion of the WWF when he holds the big gold belt and the big eagle belt. I do it just a little bit differently because I don't book Vengeance. When I think of Vengeance, I think of the show that Chris Benoit didn't make it to, Vengeance Night of Champions. So, because I don't book Chris Benoit in my universe after he breaks his neck at King of the Ring of 2001, I'm also not booking Vengeance 12/9 of 2001. What I'm doing is I'm booking Starrcade: The Return, because Starrcade was known for having subtitles: Starrcade: The Gathering, Starrcade: The Night of Skywalkers. So at my show, we are going to crown a tippy top guy. We are going to do the very similar thing to what Vince did, but Shane's going to do it. And he says, if The Rock and all these insurgents want to keep getting involved, that's fine. Rock, you'll have to earn your way into a match here at Starrcade. And so Rock has to win his way into a match at Starrcade. He earns his way there, and at Starrcade, we have Booker T, not Kurt Angle, sorry Kurt, losing to Steve Austin for Steve to retain the big eagle belt. We have The Rock, who he earned his way to this unification match by being the man who holds the big gold belt. He's defending against Chris Jericho. Jericho wins back the big gold belt, and in the main event, Stone Cold loses the big eagle to Chris Jericho, becoming the unified champion, or undisputed champion, if you will. Earlier in the night, we'll have Terry Reynolds versus Stacy Keibler versus Jacqueline, all having WCW past, wrestling for the women's title. And I'm keeping Rob Van Dam versus The Undertaker, even though it is an implosion of the Most Dangerous Alliance. Factions can't last forever. Taker will be backed up by the bad man of Rikishi, and RVD will be backed up by the technical great wrestler of Lance Storm. Taker does win the match, just like he does in the original timeline. But like I said, this is when the cracks begin to show. This is when the Most Dangerous Alliance begins to show that things might not be all that they appear. Thank you for tuning in to the Wednesday Night Wrestling Remix. There is one more episode next week of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Remix as we continue to evolve the Invasion storyline. Like I said, now it is the rise of the Insurgents, because WWF is on the come up, trying to take back what was theirs from what was theirs all along, and stop WCW from running things into the ground. I'll go ahead and tease that if you're here next week, the WWF will earn one entry into the Royal Rumble. I booked 29 WCW wrestlers and one WWF wrestler. If the one WWF wrestler wins, they get to main event WrestleMania. And if they don't, the Insurgency has to stop. These people have to be prevented from getting to the buildings. So come back next week for the end of the Invasion storyline and for what I'm calling the corporate merger. And yes, thank you for watching. See you this weekend. See you next week.